Our governing body for March 3rd, 2026. Approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Please join us for a moment of silence, and Vice Mayor Moore will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, is there anyone signed up for public comment? Is there anyone who is not signed up but would still like to make public comment? No? All right. First up is a recognition, proclamation for Miss Sunshine Jefferson. Whereas the city of Manassas Park thrives through the selfless dedication of residents and neighbors who volunteer their time, energy, and talents to strengthen the fabric of our community. And whereas Miss Sunshine Jefferson has distinguished herself throughout her tireless commitment to volunteerism, consistently going above and beyond to serve those in need and enhance the quality of life in our city. Whereas her provocative leadership and compassionate spirit have left a lasting impact on local programs, embodying the true essence of civic duty and community service. And whereas it is essential to recognize those who lead by example, inspiring others to engage in the noble pursuit of helping their neighbors and bettering the city of Manassas Park. Now, therefore, it is the honor of the governing body to proclaim sincere gratitude and appreciation for Miss Sunshine Jefferson and recognize her tremendous efforts on behalf of the residents of Manassas Park. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
One, two, three. Oops. One, two, three. One, two, three. And one more. One, two, three.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you graciously. Well deserved. Thank you graciously. We would choose.
Microphone?
Good evening, happy sunshine, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you graciously. We thank God, first of all, for the opportunity to serve. What a privilege it is to have a team. Together we all achieve more. Thanking God for all of those that came in this evening. Dr. Jones and Mr. Jones, and this is my team over here, team family. Give them a hand clap. Because together we can. United, we always stand. And what a privilege it is to serve into Manassas Park. We are growing, glowing, and guess what? We are family. Thank you. God bless you, and to God be the glory. Thank you again.
Amen.
Thank you. And next, we have a proclamation declaring March 2026 American Red Cross Month. Whereas we celebrate the American Red Cross by honoring our neighbors who make its humanitarian mission possible in Manassas Park. Every day, their acts of kindness change lives, bring relief, comfort, and hope when help can't wait. This compassionate spirit runs deep in our community, just as it has for 145 years through the American Red Cross. And whereas those who serve with the American Red Cross of Northern Virginia light the way during emergencies, whether it's delivering shelter, food, and comfort after disasters, providing a safe, life-saving blood supply for patients facing conditions like cancer treatments, childbirth complications, and traumatic injuries, assisting military members, veterans, and their families with 24/7 global support, or empowering individuals with skills like first aid and CPR that save lives. And whereas these collective efforts are a powerful reminder that the strength of our community lies in our shared commitment to one another. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Manassas Park governing body hereby proclaims March 2026 as American Red Cross Month, As we mark American Red Cross Month, let's celebrate our local heroes and resolve to continue lifting each other up so no one faces an emergency alone. I encourage all residents of Manassas Park to reach out and support its humanitarian mission. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. We have Juan Garcia and Preeti Samver here. If you guys would like to come up.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and one more. Close up. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you so much.
I'll be very quick, but I just want to say thank you so much. I'm Juan Garcia, the Executive Director for the Northern Virginia chapter. One, thank you for recognizing March as America Red Cross Month, but two, thank you for the ongoing support you give us all year as an organization and going out and helping in the community when we do sound the alarm events, like installing free smoke alarms or even blood drives. I do have an ask, though. I want to leave with an action item, and that is that we were impacted by the snowstorms, the winter storms, and so we had a lot of cancellations of our blood drives. So if you're able to donate blood or you're able to organize a blood drive, we're still in an appeal right now for a blood shortage. Please do so because that helps the life-saving mission that we have of providing blood to our hospitals here in Northern Virginia. Quick facts. Every 2 seconds, someone in the U.S. needs blood, and the American Red Cross provides 40% of the nation's blood supply. So thank you so much. Preeti, do you want to say anything?
Thank you.
Just a quick question. I'm ignorant, but do you guys have one of those blood mobiles that you?
We used
City
to. We
Hall
used to.
and
Yeah. So
get
we
it
used to
done?
have the big buses or
Yes,
vans
yes.
that would go out and do the blood drives. Now we just do more like fixed site locations. So we can go to like a building like this one or check
Okay.
out the space and do the blood drive here or
Okay.
things like that. And then what happened is for more of our rural areas in the country, that's where we've sent more of the buses. Yeah. And since we're more suburban city, we don't have much of a need for it here.
Fantastic.
Great
Thank
question,
you.
though. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, both of you.
Oh, she was gonna say something.
Yeah.
I'm the volunteer here with community volunteer leader, working with Juan Garcia, and as well as serving volunteer services in the community in the NOVA chapter. So it's been more than 5 years I have been volunteering, so I really appreciate and thank you for making me here today. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
coming out.
Service.
Thanks to both of you. All right, we have a presentation, Treasurer's Update to the Governing Body. Welcome, Donald.
I'm old school, so there's no death by PowerPoint. This will just look pretty behind me.
Okay.
Death by PowerPoint. That's funny.
Just make sure you speak into the microphone, because I bet everyone at home wants to hear everything you have to say.
Absolutely. Cool. Is this not connected?
Push it, turn it on. Wait,
I don't
just,
think it's connected.
It doesn't need to be.
I don't think you need to. Just turn
Push
it
the button
on.
on.
There's a button
Push
on
the
the front of
button.
it.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, there we go.
We're in the 21st century.
So
You are old school.
I just want to thank you for time on the agenda. You know, I've been the treasurer now for 2 months, and it's a role I really love, and I love serving our residents. But I want to say, in accordance with Article 7, Section 2-126, that's actually the legal requirement that I'm to report to you on the finances of the city, technically every month, but I've talked to the mayor. I'm probably going to come maybe every quarter or so and give you just an update of what we're doing in the office and how our collections are going and other issues that we may have. I want to thank our staff in my office. We have 5 plus myself. I have my master chief, Francis Denega. I have my window workers. I have Karam and Julia, and then I have 2 people on the water and sewer billing side. That's going to be my water and sewer billing supervisor and her assistant. So we run the water and sewer system as well in terms of shut-offs, collections and things like that. So I just want to thank them. I also want to thank, she's here and she doesn't like to get on the microphone, but I want to say thank you to Lucy Pullen and her staff over in the Commissioner of Revenue's office, because when I have a good set of partners on the commissioner's side, it makes my job a lot easier. And we are working together. One of our early successes is we've been creating a positive climate up on the 3rd floor. And that's the beginning, is working as a team and having our employees doing their best work. I was able to, in midstream, because personal property did go out before I came on board, but we made a decision that may have not been so communicated that well, but we will communicate better on this next round in September, that we stopped writing the vehicles on the stickers, because we can turn those transactions faster that way. We kind of decided midstream to start doing it that way. That was actually an idea that my master deputy came up with, and I thought was a great idea. So that's one of those early successes. We're going to carry that into the next season in September. One of our first week successes was that I've brought more revenue into the city. That does not require a match from you guys. It's free revenue. So for this year, it already started in January. It's $16,401 that you didn't require to come up with any extra money. It actually reimburses me for my 3rd employee that's required under the workload from the state, from the compensation board. That's money that we have been entitled to since July 1st of 2023 and was not applied for. I fixed that the 2nd week I was in office. And that's bringing free money back into the city for our taxpayers. Also, I've met with the bank. That was my 3rd week, but we met a whole panel of us, and 10 of our 12 accounts were getting 0 interest. And I looked at them and I said that was unacceptable with the amount of millions of dollars we have on account with them. So we immediately got that changed. And we're working through some logistics, but there were 10 accounts that were getting 0 interest and 2 accounts that were getting 2.12% interest. And we are going to be getting interest on all of it at 3.15, which is the Treasury rate minus 0.35. There's actually they do a formula with the Treasury yield. We're also investigating some efficiencies with checks, since we do so many checks in the office, in order to be able to run them and have them do automatic to our account at the bank. Currently, we run them for our software in the office for Avinity. Water and sewer, we still hand key checks. We do not have check reading possibilities with Edmunds, so we have to hand key those checks. And then what happens is I take those checks every morning over to the bank, and then they have to run them again. So we're trying to work through that with the equipment that we have so that we can have more efficiencies on our side and also at the bank side. One of the culture things I've changed in the office, and some of you will laugh, but I will show you, is this is my notebook. It's very old school. This is what I take my messages from the voicemail. There is not one person who sends me a voicemail on my side at least, that doesn't get a return call. Even if they don't leave a message, like they do 3 seconds and there's no volume, I still call them back. I write them down. This is just since I started. So this is all that's in here. There's like 20 pages of them. I write down their phone number, what they're calling about, and their name, and I call them back. So if you call my office and leave me a message, I will call you back up to 9 o'clock. So be careful. I may call you back in the evening as I get time. But I feel it's important, if you give me a call, that I will try to return every phone call that I can and every email that I can in a timely manner. So that's definitely a culture shift that I personally strive for. Do I miss a call here and there? Maybe, but just know that you're going to get a call from me, and if I'm not out in the lobby, I'm going to return your phone call. I will say another issue that I'm going to lead into is, this is just today's return mail of UTF, A&K, people that we can't find. These are all bills. They're all unpaid because they didn't get a bill. Today was a particularly big day, so I decided to bring them. There were 36 returned envelopes today. There was 1 water and sewer, 1 real estate, 3 business personal property, and 31 personal property tax. So, that's going to be a continuing issue, as you'll see when I go into the next part of collections, which is everybody's favorite. I'm going to walk you guys through the sheet. Let's see if I got one for myself. I hope I didn't give them all away.
Do you need this one?
Here.
I don't know what I did with it. I must have given all the sheets away. Oh, sorry. It was underneath. I got it. No, I got it. And I know the
Got it.
public at this moment, I'm going to talk through a lot of numbers, and you don't have access to them. This isn't secret. It's on Word. I can email you if you want. It's going to be in the minutes for the meeting, so there's no intention of hiding anything. It's just I'm not doing a PowerPoint tonight. So as you probably were already cheating and looked at the numbers already before, but I'll walk you through them. So our main taxes are business license, business personal property, meals tax, personal property, the public service corporation, and then real estate. So as you look at the page that I've given you guys, the first column is the money collected. The second column is the money that's still outstanding. The third column is that total, and the fourth column is the percentage that's been collected. So now business license, I used the 25 number because business license was due yesterday, and I'm not confident that we are not at the right level. There's still going to be people submitting. So this is 25's number. So it's the 1,296,246. There's 105,000 roughly still out there, and it's at 92.49%. The business personal property, that's the one that we just finished collecting, that the due date was February 5th, 2026. So just business was 1,126,761. There's still 326,854 out there, and what the total is 1,453,615. That's a 77.51% collection so far. Meals tax for 2025. The first one for 2026 was just due about a week ago because it's due on the 20th of the month after collection. So the meals tax was $625,580, $65,088, and it still need to be collected. And I will say, I'm not going to shame anybody on this up here from the podium, but there's one of those businesses is about 15,000 of that, just one specific one that I know about. So right now we're at 90.58%. That person has to pay on the 6th. The correct procedure is after 90 days, they are supposed to be sent to TACS for collection, and they were not sent to collection, even though they were 10 months behind when I walked in the door. They've now paid 4 months, and I expect that they will be current very soon, or they will be going to collection. Personal property, this number is for the one that we just finished collecting, so that's technically 25, even though the due date was February 5th, 2026. That's $4,767,576. That's what's been collected. $1,377,737 is still outstanding. The total is $6,145,314. That's a 77.58% collection rate. And we're going to go in. I have a whole section on the historic part of personal property, so I'll get to that in a minute. The public service commit. The PSC, which is public service, that number changed today. We got payment from Washington Gas, and the only reason why there's a balance there is because it was due January 15th, and we received it today, and they have penalties and interest. So shame on them. But they got an email from me today. I actually reached out to them. I can't get a hold of their controller, but I went through their customer service. I'm hoping to get a call back from them. I was already on it today after I got the mail. So that's 98.78%. But just so you know, there's money in there from Novec and Verizon. All of our public utilities, that's in that number. So just so you know what's in there. So the next two are real estate. So it gives you a little idea. Real estate 25, which was the payments that were due technically January 6th, 2025 and June 5th, 2025. So that's a year that's already finished. I am very proud that we got up to 99% last week. So that's a number that changes because as people either sell want to buy or refinance. I get calls literally several times a day from title companies looking to see if they have delinquent taxes. So that number has been steadily climbing, and that's the easiest one to collect because real estate doesn't go anywhere. So it's easier to collect, there's more mechanisms, and we can collect for 20 years on real estate, just so you know that. And that is $36,266,470. There's only 365,000 out there still, and the total is 36,631,497. So we're at 99%. So the next one is real estate 26. That's the one that was just due in December. So we're in tax year 26. And you can see that we're not quite as high yet, but as I say, is we are getting new real estate almost every day. We either get a call, we get a payment. So that number is already up about 0.5% just in the last month. And that's at 19,075,092. And there's 823,129 still due. So for 19,898,221. And you'll notice that's a big increase, because you'll notice that just half of the real estate for 26, if you double that, that's 38 million. So you can just see even year over year of increases. And also, as we are still building units here in downtown, so those units get added on to the tax roll. So that number literally changed from yesterday to today, the real estate number did, because if they have more assessments, for the new units that they're building down there. So I suspect that number will come up. It'll be close. I looked, if you're interested, I went back 12 years. We have at least 3 or 4 years where we are actually at 100%. It's 2015, 16, and 17 is at 100%. We have between 2018 and 2022, we only have 1 or 2 properties. I mean, that's actually how close we are. I don't have it's like 99.8 or something, 99.9. But actually, because some of those years is only like $6,000 due. So some of those years, and I won't say on the record what house that is, there's one particular house that's significantly delinquent, but I've been in conversations with my charisma, uniqueness, and talent, I say, and they are going to pay without me having to do a tax sale, because they are about 7 years behind. But they are actually willing to pay, and the issue is they had 3 of the 6 heirs actually died as well, and one of the owners died, so they're having to navigate some family issues in order to get. But I anticipate that we will, hopefully in this year, we will have some additional years that will be out 100% collection. We also have one of our businesses that got significantly delinquent. And he reached out to me, and so I took his first payment this week. He owes over $200,000 in real estate. So the real estate numbers will come up because that is a business property, and it's $65,000 a year. So there are significant areas for improvement, and I've been working every angle of that. So there are businesses that are delinquent. They will not get a break compared to residential. They will be held to the same standard. So just so you know that. So I did another section for personal property because I anticipated when you would see the low number for personal property, you would say, well, what's the normal personal property? So I did the work for you, and I presented, and I'm going to tell you how to read this. So the 19 and the 20 are beyond what we can collect at this point. But I thought it was good for historical. That's kind of the high watermark where we're at. So you're looking at that 94 to 95% collection rate. And you can also see when you read down, the first column is the collection rate, so 94.7, 94.6, et cetera. The next column is the amount of actual tax collected in actual dollars. The next column, which is the smaller column, that's the amount of tax still due. And then the last column is actually how many accounts are delinquent. So you'll see as you read down, the collection rate gets lower. 21's pretty good, and then you get to 22, and then you're at 23 or kind of this, and then 24 goes down, and then you get down to where we are now. So we have significant task in front of us in order to get the last 2 or 3 years to get as high as where we were, before COVID. There are over 4,000 accounts in this city who are not paid. And I would, if this is going on in public, encourage those taxpayers to give me a call, because not saying anything and hoping it will go away is not a good strategy, because in a few weeks, I'm going to be able to tell the police chief, we're ready to go on enforcement. Those tickets are $250 a piece for not having a decal for unpaid personal property. So I just warn people that that's a possibility, and I don't want people to pay the fine. I want you to come into my office and make a payment. I want you to go onto our website and make a payment, even if it's not a full payment. I don't specifically do payment plans. You're free to go on the website and make a payment. Our e-check function for personal property and real estate is free. Okay. Maybe I'll stop. You guys have questions on kind of the collections, this collection part?
I do, Mr. Treasurer. So first, I would like to recognize you and Lucy working together in the Office of the Commissioner of Revenue and Treasurer, in that having that culture of collaboration. Additionally, I've heard several people talk about how that's impacted the customer service levels, and so that I've gotten a lot of positive feedback anecdotally from word of mouth, so I wanted to recognize you for that.
Thank you.
I'm also happy to hear that you're kind of looking into the city's best interest and all our hard-earned money that's in the public coffers, and finding ways to improve the investment return that we're getting on that at the bank. So that's also great work. I do have a couple of questions. The first one is around so the number of delinquent accounts. So in most cases, that would be like a vehicle, or?
Well, like for instance, let's see, you and your fiance, you may own a vehicle, your fiance owns a vehicle, so that's two separate accounts, because with DMV, so that's, or like let's say we have Alana and Daryl. Well, Alana owns a vehicle and Daryl owns a vehicle. They're on different accounts, and then another account is Alana and Daryl own a vehicle together. So they might have 3, 4, 5 accounts in the same household because of how the ownership is through
Understood.
DMV.
I think, so let me ask the question a different way. I think if I'm looking at this, it looks like over the past 4 or 5 years, the percentage is going down because the number of delinquent accounts is going up, right? That's the way I
That's
interpret
true.
this?
Yeah,
And my question
absolutely,
is,
yeah.
do we have any idea of, are those folks that have maybe had a few bills, personal property taxes, and then moved out of the jurisdiction? Or are those actual vehicles that are sitting here in the city? Because I think,
Well, if there's a bill, that means we know about it, it's been billed, and it's unpaid. Versus, I think what you're asking is, are there vehicles sitting there that aren't billed, which would not be captured in what I gave you?
yeah,
Like, is there this vehicle I see on East Carondelet all the time and doesn't have a city sticker? And, because I think the mayor had passed on an email to us from, I think it was from East Carondelet or something, about some vehicles that did not have a sticker. And so those would not be captured. Now, I know that Commissioner Poland had used your email and actually had added, was able to verify some of them were on the tax roll, and one of them I think she added on. So, people in the public, if you see vehicles that are not, that don't have at least the brown sticker, much less the new one, you can reach out to the commissioner's office, and they have access through DMV to be able to look at those things.
okay. I guess what I'm trying to think through, and maybe the answer might be we don't know right now, right?
Okay.
But I'm trying to think through, like, how many of these vehicles do we think are unpaid that are still within the city limits versus people that have moved far away and that might be difficult to track down where those vehicles are
Right.
today?
And one of the things I hadn't gotten to it because I kind of took a break because I figured you might have questions on some of the collection numbers, is one of the things we have not been doing that I intend to go forward with is going to be, I call it a different name. The technical name is a debt offset, and that's through the state. And so what they do is we can, and I was actually just reading part of the packet before I came up, or came down here, because we can apply to the state, and we can upload our files. And so if Stacy owes personal property to us and gets an income tax refund, I call it tax intercept is what I call it, but debt offset is the technical name. And it will intercept her tax refund or lottery winnings over $600. It actually does both of them. So if you get lucky, with the scratch off or something, you might, but it will intercept, and there's a process where they, once we've uploaded, then they ask us, okay, is this a bill that's still valid? And then the actual taxpayer has 30 days to challenge if maybe they say, hey, I don't owe it, or I already paid it. There's a whole process, but it's for instance, when we had the state income tax refunds from last year, everybody got $200 or $400. We got none of that because we weren't in the program. We could have intercepted all those checks that people got for personal property or real estate, and we missed out because we weren't in the program.
Gotcha.
So in the Senate version of the budget for this year, and I don't know if it's in the first year or the second year, I'm sorry that I can't remember at this moment, but there's another proposal to do another set of checks. So we have the debt offset program, we're going to be in line if we have taxpayers, which almost everybody got one, so it was almost 100% that got the checks. We're going to have 4,000 accounts in personal property that they'll get intercepted, and we may get some money out of that. So I mean, it's a program that doesn't really cost us anything, and it's easy. It's really easy money because once we set it up, then they cut us a check every month for anybody that they've intercepted. So that's something that we haven't been doing in the city that I intend to do. Okay.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions?
I do. I have one more question,
Sure.
and I'm sorry. You were mentioning the hand keying of the checks for water and sewer. I'm one of those taxpayers who writes my check. in
But
water
we
and
love you.
sewer.
We love having your smiling face in the office, or if you want to do the Dropbox or the mail.
I guess my question is, and some people have talked to me about this, like, is there going to be at some point a way to do automatic payments
We already have that.
electronically?
We already have that in water and sewer. I hope you'll go on the website and sign up.
And it's a direct debit from your checking account? On an automatic basis?
Yep, on the 25th of the month, we already have it.
Okay.
I will say, there's some ratepayers who will say, I don't want to pay $1.95. That's what Edmunds charges us for e-check. That's the only thing. The e-check on everything else that we run on Avinity on the software is free. So it's personal property, real estate, business license, meals tax. E-check is free. The only one that we charge for e-check is for water and sewer. It's $1.95, but it does come out on the 25th of the month automatically. You don't need to write a check. You don't need to come into the office.
Is there a way that we can look at making that? I know, because I've seen people complain about that fee. Is there a way that we can pick a different vendor or a different service where we can make that fee zero? Because I
don't want to steal Josh's thunder. I know there's been a lot of talk internally about operating systems and things like that. And as I'm not the IT director, I can't speak directly. I will say is, I believe the reasoning was that Avinity didn't have a utility module, and that's why we have to run on two systems.
Okay.
So
This is less a question than a comment. I think if we can move to a frictionless system where people don't have to pay more for the privilege of doing the automatic payment, that will drive people to want to do that, like the
Right.
way that we pay our other utility bills.
I hear.
And that will reduce the burden that your office has.
Right.
So it's a win-win for everyone.
Well, everybody that was
We can
sitting in my
figure it out.
office got a, hey, we do this now. When they were sitting for personal property, I was promoting our service for water and sewer while I had a very captive audience. So don't think that I wasn't doing that already. We have the issue. We have a lot of cash payers in the office, and we have a lot of unbanked people that don't have bank accounts. And so they have a time tax of, they sit in my office and have to wait to pay cash because the only way they can pay cash is when they come in my office and wait for one of my staff or myself to, service them at the window.
Thanks.
Understood. Thank
Do you
you.
have any questions?
Yes.
I do have a little bit more. Do you have more? Is it on collections, or do you want me? Can I do a little bit more and then come
Oh,
back?
sure.
Sure. And I apologize. I will answer every question you have. One of the things I wanted to bring up under collections was real estate exemptions. And just so you know what the cost is to the city. So there is a cost for disabled veteran relief. And that I want to thank I believe the Commissioner of Revenue gave me this number. I want to thank her. That's why I say part of our cooperation, we can get lots of things done that would have not been able to be done before. The 100% disabled veteran relief, that cost $495,528 a year. and elderly and disabled relief, which is 65 and over with the income and the asset requirements, that's $414,730, which is for a total of $910,259, and that's about, just for people out in the community, that's about 4 cents on the tax rate in real estate, roughly. So that there is a cost to it, and one of my things is if we all pay what we owe, we all can pay less. And also the General Assembly should not be cutting taxes on taxes that fund our government. They should cut taxes on their own level of government, not on real estate or personal property, which they don't have to then deal with the consequences of those things. They can cut taxes, that's great, but do it on a tax that they get, income tax or sales tax or something like that. So I wanted to bring that up. There is a real cost to those programs. It's in money that we don't receive. So there is that. One of the other things is that we have struggled with personal property with workload. It is an issue. I mean, we just finished sending decals Friday, February 27th on. So it's taking us 2 months to process. And we are leaning very heavily on the customer service team, and I want to do a shout out to all of them. I don't know all their names and the people who have done things for us over the last 2 months, but they're helping us in addition to the people in our office, and it's still taking us 2 months to do. So I will be hiring a water and sewer billing clerk, but one of the things that I intend to do is I'm going to cross-train one of them, and so they're going to be able to do surge capacity on days when we have water and sewer due, and surge capacity during some of our personal property season that they can also help. So I want you to know that I'm being a good steward of our tax dollars, trying to use the employees that you have already given me in kind of unique ways so that we can try to improve service delivery for our customers and for our businesses and our residents. One of the things I'll also highlight, and then I'll come back to you, Councilman Moore, is we did the first water and sewer shutoff about 2 weeks ago. And it was the first one we had done in 3 months because we can't do it when it's 32 degrees or under or 90 degrees and over, so we have restrictions. So there hadn't been any shutoff for 3 months. And we had 116 households and businesses that were shut off, which I'm not sure which business can survive without water, but they were shut off just the same as the households. At the end of that first day, which was 2 Wednesdays ago, we were down to 40.
Nice.
So we had 76 that were able to they paid, and most of these accounts were 3 months behind. We had a lot of people in the 300s, and we had people in the 400s. There was one I saw that was like $476. That's what they had to pay to get it turned on. So at the end of Thursday, it was 19. At the end of Friday, it was 13. So 13 households went into the weekend with no water. Okay. We had one pay this past Friday, and I will make a mention that be careful using your bank's bill pay service. That is not online. And it takes a while because they send them to us in the mail, and these third party, they do multiple banks, and so we get big envelopes with 30 and 40 checks in them, and they take a while. And so we had somebody that was out for 9 days because they had done bill pay, and they had even gone into their branch and didn't realize it wasn't instantaneous. So if anybody's in that situation, please go onto our website, make a direct payment, and then email us so that we can get you turned on. There are currently, from that shutoff, there are still 8 households that have not paid and do not have water. So I don't know if they're vacant. They're on vacation and they don't know they're turned off. That's a great extra plug. Do the automatic debit so that you never miss a payment. And we get forgetful, and I forgot to pay, and so there are additional penalties and interest and fees. Because it's $30 to get turned on, it's $90 after 2 o'clock. So, but yeah, so I think I will end there, but I want to go back to Councilmember Moore. I just wanted to finish a few things in case you had questions about water and sewer, but I'll answer as many questions as you have.
Thanks. Vice Mayor?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. I appreciate you standing before us. It's refreshing to have something that's mandated in state code to actually happen. And so we appreciate your presence here this evening and the fact that the Treasurer and the Commissioner of Revenue is operating so efficiently these days. Just a couple questions. So
Sure.
what tools do you have in your toolkit for collections when it comes to personal property?
Well,
Let me
you know,
mention shut-offs
for
for
personal-
water and sewer, but
Yeah, with
personal
water and
property.
sewer is different because
Yeah.
we basically do all of the collections internally. So that's why we need the extra staff, because we're effectively doing all the internal. We don't send it to TACS usually, because even in rental situations, the owner has to sign paperwork and is responsible for charges if the renter, leaves and leaves a balance for the owner. They have to pay. Somebody ends up having to pay on water and sewer.
Yeah, thinking more personal property tax.
Okay, and one thing I wanted to add is I learned in this job, and I've been a longtime resident, is that we have several properties in our water and sewer system that are not in the city. Did you know that? That Osborne Park, Parkside Middle, that are all on our water and sewer system, and they're not in the city, or because they were in the town, probably way back when. We also have an issue with the houses on McLean Street, which is in the county. They're on our sewer system, but not the water system. So we have one right. I think one of the 8 that we still have. The issue is that we can't turn their water off because they're on Prince William Service Authority, but the sewage they still owe to us, and we can't turn their water off because they don't get water from us. So anyway, there's your little trivia for today. We have at least 8 units or 8 customers, so to speak, that are actually not in Manassas Park that are on part of our water and sewer systems. So there's a little trivia for you. But for real estate, for personal property, for other taxes, we do send to TACS, which is our debt collector. They do collect revenue for us. It is not the be-all to end-all. I will say that. They're doing a great job. They have certain tools in their toolbox, but you can't just say, "Look, we'll send it to them and just kind of forget about it," because they send us money, but it's not. It's, as I say, it's not the be-all to end-all. That you still have to do other enforcement actions. As I was already saying, we're going to do debt set-off. That's an additional, and especially with personal property, people move. And a lot of the people in this stack, we got a lot of people over here in the apartments, and we have people down here at the Palisades and Manassas Yards and all those, and the condos over at Manassas Park Station, and they're very transient. So debt set-off is a good thing, because if they move somewhere in Virginia and they file a tax return, then it doesn't matter if they've moved to a different place. We have a better access to them for that. We also, there's another, and I have to look into it. I don't want to say so much about it, but I know that in this city, I don't know if it was temporary authority or if it was permanent authority, but back about 12, 13 years ago, we did do some booting for personal property. And that would be authority. If I don't have it, I would have to come back to you guys. But that is something they did at one point. I think coming out of the Great Recession, there were probably a lot of accounts that were delinquent, and they did a series of that. Most of it was in order to prevent it. A lot of people paid. I think they did some, but I think most of it was people paid to prevent from it happening. So, I mean, we have some of those tools. I mean, it depends on what authority you want to give me, kind of, that direction. I will be appropriate, but, aggressive in collection to make sure that everybody pays their tax obligation and nothing more than that.
Yeah, that was my follow-up question. Is there anything that we could do legislatively via ordinance or resolution or regulation that could help with the collection? Is there anything out there that other treasurers have that you don't have, that you'd like to have?
I don't know the answer to that, but it's one of those, as I go to more TAV, Treasurer Association of Virginia events, and I get more networked into people,
Okay.
that I may pick up some additional things that they have in other jurisdictions that I may be able to bring back. And I intend to be active with that, because we have people that in our association that run the training at the comp board, that they rely on the TAV experts that are treasurers in other places, because they are so experienced in doing it. We also can do, I call it administrative hearing, but you basically require them to show up. If they're delinquent in taxes, they have to actually show up in the office. And the TAV president in Fauquier, she does that. She says it's very effective, that they have to actually show up in the office and present themselves. So, I mean, there's some other things that we could do. I'm going to try and do the easiest things first and also encourage voluntary compliance. It's, I want people to voluntarily pay. I don't want to have to, do kind of extraordinary measures. But we do, there's a lot of money on the table there.
Yeah, no,
There's a lot of
hear
money
you.
on the table,
Without a doubt.
probably, $3 million out of the last 4 years that, we're not going to get 100%, but
Sure.
we could probably get in the 90s. I would be comfortable if we got up to 93, 94, 95, that we made good efforts, because as personal property goes, it gets harder to collect it because people move.
My next question, our former treasurer had advocated the idea of posting folks that were delinquent in newspapers or on the board, the electronic boards that you have in your office and around the. What's your feeling about that as far as shaming prior taxpayers?
I think that would probably be a last resort. I would say it's probably worse for businesses, and we do have businesses that are delinquent. I mean, as I say, we have one of our real estate people is $200,000 delinquent right now,
It's huge.
but is willing to pay. So I'm willing to keep that person out of collection for now. If he's willing to make consistent payments, and I'm
Sure.
getting money, then then we can talk. But we have people are not making payments.
And then my last question, I appreciate that answer. I hear this from a lot. My husband and others complain that we don't prorate personal property tax cars. He sold his car mid-year and had to pay the full fee, whatever. So, and I know other cities and
It would
jurisdictions
take a lot.
prorate their personal property.
It would take more. It would take more staff. That's immediately.
How many more? Can you provide that to the governing body?
I don't know. I think this is my take on it. It's better to pay on the front end than the back end, because if Councilmember Sieberling goes out tomorrow and buys a vehicle, she'll pay a decal fee, but she won't pay tax this year. She goes out and buys an SUV that's $50,000. If you're prorating, you get hit with that number immediately. When under our system is you don't pay to that second year, you get a whole year of depreciation. You're immediately getting hit. Because I'm going to tell you, there was I won't say who it was, but there was somebody that had a GMC Hummer EV and was valued at $90,000. The check was so big, I thought it was a real estate check. I had to look at it again. It was personal property. So there would be problems with that in terms of if you buy a new vehicle, you would get hit immediately with that full new price, and you would pay more tax, because normally when you get a vehicle, you're trading in an older vehicle that's worth less and trading in for a newer vehicle that's more. You're paying tax on the lesser priced vehicle or valued vehicle. So proration would be, I would think, is actually a tax increase for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. That's just, and it would be just a revolving door of you're constantly billing. You're constantly, because you would have to have people, you would have to have somebody just dedicated to that. They're just producing bills for personal property, because we got to figure it out, because there would be a whole extra level of complexity too. Like, okay, it's March 3rd. How many quarters do I need to charge you? We'd have a whole extra set of rules that we would have to abide by and have to communicate to taxpayers. It's not just, I usually say it's easy. It's one and done. It's January 1st. So we even had a case where somebody sold on January 1st, and they have to pay for the year unless they can say that they paid somewhere else. So Manassas City, I believe, does just like us, January 1st. Prince William and Fairfax prorate. They're bigger jurisdictions. I'm not in favor of it. I think it would add a lot of complexity, and that's just if you change the law, I'll abide by it. But I think for me, making things more complex with a lot more rules makes it harder to enforce.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it.
Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. You've done an amazing job. I've heard it internally and externally from many people. And one tool I wanted to offer, and it's interesting you bring up shaming. Maybe we should shame the previous treasurers who've done direct elected duty. That'd be probably the first, because the collection issue isn't really so much taxpayers, it's the previous treasurers. So just to put that out there in case anybody's listening. The second piece, I know you have the ability to do DMV stops.
We
That's
do
another
that.
option. The only thing I would recommend about that, with the DMV stops, a lot of times DMV takes the first $25 or $50, and then we don't get that, and we're just not even getting the penalty. So if the ability is to do a DMV stop, to be able to get that fee as well, on top of that, back to the city as well, because that takes time. The other piece I know for businesses, you have the ability under Constitution to do asset forfeiture. So you have the ability to with or in court with, I think, an administrative type of warrant, you're able to go into the facility, to the business and actually, and something to look at. The other question I have is about the check machine. Are you hoping to get the ability, because I know that a lot of the treasurers use the ability to deposit checks directly, get a counter?
We want the direct deposit, because it's also is that we get the money faster. Because if we don't take the checks over to the next day,
Right.
and
If
one
you
of the
don't mix
issues,
it, they'd be quick.
well, one of the issues is if we don't do the Dropbox, which we don't generally do, then it's a whole nother day. So Wednesday's money doesn't get processed till Friday.
So that's something you're looking at, be able to deposit them directly.
Right, so we're just taking cash over. Yeah, so we just had another meeting last week with Atlantic Union about seeing what the synergies can be, because it's more efficient on them, because
It is.
we're their biggest account, and it takes them hours on our heavier days in order for them to process all of our cash and checks. So they only usually have 2 tellers and a branch manager, or maybe like assistant branch manager. So they're small like us. They only have about 4 employees over there too at the branch, and we are their biggest customer. So we've already been looking at it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It was actually my suggestion.
Because we used to even do that at my previous employer in the department I worked at, our finance unit would do that as well, and it was quick, you don't even take the checks anymore, so it was pretty
Yeah,
simple.
that's the goal, and I appreciate, because I was already ahead of you, because I've been looking at a lot of things that we've been doing and saying, can we do it better? Can we do it more efficiently? Can we save time? Because as I say, I kind of got dumped into personal property. My first day was a 12-hour day, because it was also water and sewer. It was water and sewer day on January 5th, and personal property together, so.
Any other
Deb,
question?
Another question?
Just 2 more.
Go ahead.
The other question is, if you write a check, I know policy we have at my organization is if a check is over 25 and it bounces, there's an additional fee on top of it. Do you have something that implements?
We charge customers $50 if they bounce a check.
Okay.
For insufficient
And then the
funds.
other question is, I know the Edmunds payment system has been a concern. It's not a concern of mine. I actually do not like it. Is that something that's being looked at, or is with Tyler, will there be a new payment system possibly coming in the future, or reverting back to their payment system? Because I know many people at least on my street who comment on it, like that option better. I don't know, just a question.
Well, I was
Just a
gonna add too, before you come up, is that Avinity, when we adopted Avinity, which has every system except water and sewer, they didn't have a utility module,
yeah.
but I hear that they do now. It might be an opportunity at some point to be able to merge them, at least that my office could only have to run on one piece of software.
Right.
My goal, I would love to, and as I say, I'm not the IT director, but I would love to be able to pull up, Lana's account and and I should be able to see real estate, personal property, and water and sewer on one screen. Because like right now, and even in Avinity, we cannot search for personal property by address. So I have to know you have something, because like, for instance, if Alana has a rumor and I can't check to see if that other person has a personal property and owes it by address, I can't do that. So it's a limitation. So even on a better system, there are still limitations on what we can do. Running on one system would be better, because that would have a little bit more synergy, but it would be less cost, because we'd have less licensing fees in terms of the software. Because every system we run, you have to pay a license fee to run it. And if we have more of them in one system, the economies of scale, we'd be able to save some money on the IT side too.
Yeah.
Did you want to add?
Okay. Do you have anything else, Michael?
No, that's it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stacey?
So I just thank you for everything that you've done. just progress, and it's only been a few months, and so I definitely expect to see more progress. And I know that although some of these numbers are disheartening, I do expect them to be better as the years progress. It is a shame that in 2019, 2020, we've lost $612,000 that between those. You said we can't recover those for personal property.
Right, because we generally only do like 5 years.
Okay.
Real
So
estate is 20, but personal property is only 5. So there's kind of a clock that keeps ticking.
Right.
Because,
So it's a shame. The other thing that I would like to see is how many accounts are these duplicates? So if we start kind of going after these guys and saying, hey, you need to pay it, but they haven't paid it for 6 years, so they just think that they've gotten away with it. Because you can see it kind of hovers around 1,000, 1,100.
Right.
But they're increasing. It's almost like they've gotten away with it, so they just continue.
Yeah.
Once we go back, will this number just naturally start to decrease, just clean up?
Well, absolutely, and I already asked the same question you asked. I asked my master deputy this afternoon when he gave me these, because I asked, I said, how many accounts does this represent?
Mm-hmm.
And we did that the other day, and then I asked today, and I'm thinking the same question, we must be thinking alike, was just how many of these are, 1,000 of these are people that are owing for 3 and 4 and 5 years.
Yeah, because you can also group your correspondence to say, hey, look, you owe this, but
I may be able to give you
this year.
I may be able to give an answer because we're going to ready, believe it or not, because it was due February 5th. We're almost to the point of sending the delinquent,
right.
Because we have to, by law, we have to send a delinquent personal property at least 30 days out. So we're almost to the point now of sending that. I'll be able to tell you how many of those we sent, and I'll be able to give you an answer on that.
Almost maybe even just group the ones that are delinquent on multiple years and tally them up. Which ones are the highest will get biggest bang for our buck for pushing.
Right, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if they're on there multiple years, that means we know they're not moving around.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of people, when you look at the delinquency list, there's $30 and $6 people.
Yeah.
They're like 1 year and then they're out. And so, but there are people that are going to be on this list that are, I know there's somebody, and I won't say who they were, they owe $5,000 over 4 years and they don't want to pay the back years. They just want to pay the current year with a sticker. And I'm sorry that we can't do that. That we have to pay the oldest bill first. So that's why you can't just come in and pay 2025 when you owe previous year's personal property.
Thank you. And I also notice that when you're presenting and how you're approaching everything, it's with kindness, with objectivity, and with the law. And so thank you very much for that. And respecting our citizens and also being a good steward of the Manassas Park fund.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I will say, I'm sure there will be some people that will come up to you at some point because I don't waive penalties and interest. Okay, it's part of the city code. You and your predecessors have decided that I shall do it, and I even got an opinion from the city attorney to make sure I was doing it the correct way. And I like to say it this way, is I know a lot of people in the city. It'd be easy for me to say, oh, Lana, I know you, I'm going to give you a break, and some other person, I don't know you, you have to pay. It helps me not have any favoritism either, and keeps me saying if I say the same thing to the same person and the next person, then I'm more consistent. And it may make me look, kind of like, oh, he's so stubborn, he won't help me. But I try to be consistent and apply it fairly, because then people won't say, well, if you know him, he'll waive things, but if you don't, he'll make you pay. And I don't want to get into that kind of.
Thank you, and I don't have any more questions.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming out, Donald. We appreciate everything you and Lucy are doing.
I will say one more thing, and then I will stop.
Real quick, okay.
Is that I will be meeting with every department. Because of personal property, I've only been able to meet with one department so far. I know that there's been a big issue with the police department. There was over $1.2 million that is sitting there in tickets that are not collected. And I'm the only one that can legally collect it.
Okay.
So just so you know that. So I will be, we're going to be having some discussions. I'm not sure how much of that's going to be collectible. I don't want to make a promise I can't keep on that, but we're going to look at it. If there's a way I can do some of these with debt offset, with TACS, with different things, and we can bring some of that revenue in that's been missing. I will try. I can't make promises, in terms of what we can work out and what we can collect on behalf of the police department. That's also a large pot of money that's not on here that is sitting there, and people think that they don't have to pay, and there's going to be no follow-up with it. And so I'm going to try and work with all of our departments if they have collection needs that are not just the ones that I personally have right here.
Thank
And with
you.
that, I think I'm going to stop. But I will come back in a few months. I will present again. And if you have questions, please email me. I can answer specific questions to the best of my ability. Or if you want updates on collection, I can do that in a little while too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, sorry, I couldn't let him go without adding one thing on the publishing the list of the delinquent taxpayers, because I know
Oh,
that
yeah.
came up a couple times. It's an effective tool in a lot of jurisdictions. One nice thing about doing that is if you publish it in a paper, the cost of that advertising can be allocated among the delinquent taxpayers, so you can recover that. You can also put it on the city website if you really want to. So it's a tool, and I know maybe you all didn't mention, but public shaming, it can be an effective tool sometimes, so.
In the way I want to do it too.
What? No, okay. Next up is the consent agenda. Tonight, the consent agenda includes approval of the minutes from February 3rd, 2026, and that the governing body approves the ordinance amending Section 22-28 by changing the due date for tax relief applications from April 1st to June 30th of each year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, it is on consent.
Abstained? Motion carries. All right, public comment? Nope. All right, city manager report.
I don't have anything for tonight except to say I hope you appreciate how short the meetings have been, because that's going to be the last one for a while. So this is going to be the last one for a while. We got a lot coming down the pike, but
Donald warmed us up for the longer ones.
so yeah. But no, unless you have any questions, I don't have anything tonight.
I have one question.
Yeah.
I did hear from the account rep from Tyler. He said the 911 implementation went well. Everything was well today.
Okay, yeah, they're still working on that right now. I just
Yeah.
talked to them right before the meeting, so
He
good
said
to
everything's
hear.
going pretty good. He actually emailed me, the account manager.
Excellent, thank you.
Good.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. Next meeting is March 17th. Wear green. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. We are adjourned. You don't actually have to vote.
So-